Hello to all you beautiful people out there in the world. How are you doing this evening? I believe, without even having had to be there, that you beautiful people had a lovely day. Boy, do I have a treat for you. I am in Pinot, I am in Lucky's, and I am standing here with the beautiful Talia and Eleanor.
I'm Eleanor. She's Talia.
Eleanor has been married to Talia's father, for 30 years, and she's a product of that beauty. And both of them are going to, in conjunction with one another, are going to share with you beautiful people what that means to them. I am just so delighted. I am elated. I am excited. She's going to share with you beautiful people what that means to her and what it takes to stay together for 30 years. Talk to them like only your beautiful self can. and she's coy.
I'm very nervous.
Be merciful.
Please be merciful. So the question is, why? How long? Why I've been?
What has 30 years of marriage meant to you, and what is the like you said, the downsetting and the uprising of what kept that marriage together?
Well,
and you shared some integral things, some very beautiful things.
There's downs. For sure, there's downs.
If you're comfortable with talking about it, share it with the beautiful people, because it's going to help their marriage.
Well, there's been downs in our marriage, and struggles have been hard. Mm-hmm. But we've weathered the storm. One, because my husband, he believes in God. And, I'm not the most religious person, but he goes to church every Sunday. So you'll see him. You'll see him at St. Joseph's Church on Sunday, either 8 o'clock or 12 o'clock. But, he went through his struggles, but I looked past it because I knew the person I first got together with. He was kind.
Well, if you're comfortable with talking about it, what type of struggles, if you're comfortable with sharing?
He's fine with sharing. He was an addict for a very long time, mm-hmm. and he struggled with drugs. Mm-hmm. And when he hit his lowest point, he didn't have a place to stay. Mm-hmm. But and my parents were very strict. They just didn't want anything to do with me. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I knew the person that I first got together with, mm-hmm. and I knew that he was still in there. And
you mentioned something that you saw beyond where he was. You saw into his soul, is what you said.
He was kind, mm-hmm. and he was funny. Mm-hmm. And I remember on one of our first dates, he made me laugh. Mm-hmm. And I thought, nobody has never made me laugh like that ever before. So, even through his struggle, we fought.
So is that the beauty that you held on to?
Yes.
Yes.
He was, when I first got together with him, he had a Bible, and I thought, there's no way you read the Bible. And he would take verses from the Bible, and he would share it with me. And nobody knew that about him. He was, he was thugged out. He was thugged out, and he people didn't really know him. Mm-hmm. Only a few people did, and I was one of those few people.
That's beautiful. And so is it safe to say you should never give up on a person as a result of what face values that are in front of you?
Yeah,
to look beyond that.
And I believe everybody has their own kind of story, their own path.
Thank you for your patience.
But people can, these days, people give up so easily. Divorce.
That's the problem with this generation.
And I was installed, with my parents, they had their struggles, and they, till my father died, they were together for...
How many years?
Oh, God, over 40 years, 50.
Beautiful.
Yeah, over 40 years.
Beautiful.
So I had that installed in me, and I cried, and we fought, there was a lot of bad stuff going in our relationship, but I stuck it out. And, at this very day, he is so grateful that he makes his own sacrifices because what he lacked in years ago. Mm-hmm. And I promise, you're down in the mud, in the gutter, and there's points like that. Mm-hmm. But if you can get past that, pick yourself up, keep moving forward, walking through the mud and the rain, you will get to a point where it's I'm so glad that I stuck it out with him, because I wake up every day with him and I think I'm so freaking blessed. I love this man with all my heart. And my
That's
husband,
beautiful.
he's a man of few words, and when his words do come out, they're not always sweet, but his actions are kind and they're gentle.
Like the man that buys the dog food for the homeless and feeds the homeless sitting in front of the stores.
That's him. He will do that. He will go into the store, and if he sees someone out there, he will either buy them food or get them dog food if they have a dog or a pet, and he won't even ask for a thank you. He will just say, "This is for you. There's a shelter up the street. You should go over there." He always recommends.
That's a defensive nature right there.
Yeah,
That's where she get that from.
She's very, very kind. She gets that from her dad a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't know it, but even though she has a feisty side to her,
Mm-hmm.
she has her dad's kindness and generosity. And he's a very genuine guy. He'll tell it like it is. But when it gets to that point where he has to show that love and kindness and God's grace, he does it all the time.
Does he show it to you? I love it.
All the time. All the time.
She was right to the point. She
Yeah.
didn't hesitate.
She's daddy's girl too, so
How many? How many siblings?
just one.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she's the baby. So, and
How can you tell?
she gets everything. She has the best of both worlds, me and her dad. But 30 years of being together, 30 years plus. So I'm a very lucky woman.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so we have gone through the storm, and there's a song I think by Luther Vandross,
Okay.
and that's his favorite song between that he has.
Do you know what it is?
I don't know the name.
You're not going to ask her to sing something.
I don't know, but there's this song. But he talks about how we went through the storm, we passed it, and we're here today. And my husband, he's always grateful. He never takes a day for granted now, especially with us being together.
That's why he doesn't want to retire.
No, he might not like his job, but he forces himself because he says,
Love is greater than
Yeah.
any other challenge you could ever
I gotta
face.
take care of my family. This
Ask
is-
her.
Yeah, so, but yeah, that's it.
What would you say to encourage those, as you stated momentarily ago, who are at the brink of giving up over small things that could be, overturned, that they can overcome, or even the biggest challenges that took you over the hurdles to the point of 30 years for where you are now?
You gotta take a step back. Sometimes, and I would go, I would drive my kids just to reassess. Go for a drive, think about what you want in life. But I loved him so much because I remembered the person I got together with. Life can change someone. But if you could remember who you were when you first got together, like that happiness, that joy, the first date, first kiss, how you guys used to laugh together, and you put that back into your memory zone instead of remembering, oh, I can't stand him right now. Who is this person? Like, you're ugly, then you become ugly. If you get past all the ugly and you remember all the good stuff, and if you can get back there and find the love in yourself and for that person, you can get to where you are. Like, it took us a long time. You have to get to know each other again and remember, like, you're the man I fell in love with. I look at my husband today and, like, you're the man I fell in love with. You're the reason why I fought so hard. And he had to fight too. People within our circle were like, well, you fought for him. No, he fought too because he had demons that he had to get through. And you have to remember, like, sometimes they got stuff going in their head and you can't read their mind. Communication was, and it's such a cliche, you gotta communicate. Communication and affirmations of love to each other, that's what gets you through that time. You can communicate whether it's ugly or it's beautiful, if he's mad and it's something ugly, ask him, why are you mad? And it whether they tell you or not, you got to figure it out. Like, do you want to talk about it? And if they don't, you have to find it within yourself to be like, okay, well, I can't be mad if you can't tell me.
So if they don't want to talk about it, then that's the time to forget about
Not
the person
forget,
you fell in love with?
Not forget,
and
but
to
like,
just move on?
No, don't just move on. You got to be patient. When they're ready to talk.
I'm drawing the best out of your mother.
When they're,
this is the best interview I've ever had.
But when you're ready to talk,
Yeah.
they'll talk.
Uh-huh.
But if sometimes if you could just put it aside, like, okay, if you don't want to talk about it, don't affect me with your negativity.
Uh-huh.
Let's move forward.
Uh-huh.
Let's cook dinner. Let's do something.
Okay.
Somewhere in the lines that, like, I think with him, I had to take him to Napa.
Change the moment.
Change the moment. I had to
Okay.
take, and then he finally told me, like, he goes, I don't know what I'm doing with myself.
So changing the moment is another form of holding on.
Yeah,
Staying there.
you have to, they always say, oh, be in the moment, be in the present. Okay, you're in the present, but you know what? You can switch it up. Like, oh, can we go to the grocery store?
This is a coy woman.
Can we go to the grocery store?
See what love will do?
But he would be like, okay, fine, whatever. He would go and he would still be mad, and then later on he'd be like, oh, everything's fine.
But the person you fell in love with is still in there.
Yeah, because.
And eventually he's going to come back.
Yeah, because as much changes as a personality goes through, you kind of go back to who you are, who you were raised, how you grew up. And I knew that he was a kind person.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good person. He was always good to me when we first started out.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a time where he wasn't good to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And, drugs happened.
So where were you at when he wasn't good to you? What kind of mode did that put you in?
It forced me to be a stronger person because I had my kids.
I like what you said, stronger, not giving up.
Yeah, it forced me to cry a lot. It forced me to be in situations where I had to, kind of be down and out so I could reassess what I needed to do. And I struggled a lot. I mean, there's alleyways where I probably can't tell you, like, I fought with him or, all that stuff. But in the bottom line was I had to really cry and be mad and then look past all the bad and remember how I felt about it.
And see the bad that has him in that mode, but not the person that he is.
Yeah.
Away from that mode.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was, when he was good, he's such a good man.
Mm-hmm.
But when he was bad, he was such a bad man.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that wasn't who he was.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask any of his coworkers in the past,
Mm-hmm.
or people that have encountered him, they absolutely love him.
Mm-hmm.
The job that he was prior before, it's like he made them a part of his work family. And he would come and tell me stories, and I would see all the texts that he would have from his coworkers. I don't, not a lot of people text their coworkers.
Mm-hmm. No, they don't.
Yeah, but they would.
They can't wait to get off of work and go home and leave you alone. They'll be bothered with you.
But I've always looked at him as a leader, and even though he wasn't in management, they looked at him as a leader because he was kind. He was very straightforward, but he was kind and he was willing to teach, and.
So he took care of the people.
Yeah, and I learned from him. He teaches me every day.
Like he takes care of his family.
Yeah, he teaches me.
You getting bored?
Yeah, no. Yeah, you are. But
I'm going to call you over here in a minute.
But he teaches me to be patient because I have no choice but to be patient. Sometimes you don't have choices in a situation in terms of like marriage. Like you're married. You have no choice but to be patient with that person. Either get mad at them for a hot second and get over it. And sometimes a hot second might need 2 or 3 days. But we made a commitment to each other, and we have 2 kids. We have to fight through all that bad stuff. And he tells me every day, you know, when I tell him I love you, he always says, I love you more. Without a miss. I love you more.
Beautiful.
So, you know, and every time I say God is good, you know, I go, God is good. He goes, every day. You know, so
I love it.
so he, you know, he gives me the hope every day.
And that reassurance
Yeah. He ensures me.
that he's still there.
Yeah, and the security that he gives me, that I'm comforted that I have someone to have my back through thick and thin. And he really does truly have my back. He will not allow anyone to talk about me. He will not allow anybody to disrespect me or his children. So, you know, he is not just the love of my life. He is my strength. He is God's blessing. He is all the above. He holds me up, especially because I've been really sick. You know, he holds me up, and he, you know, on his hardest.
How are you doing?
I'm getting there, trying. I can only go out at night because I'm allergic to the sun.
Okay.
So, he, you know, even on his hardest days, after work, he'd be working 12-hour shift, and I have an appointment. Doesn't matter. I'll drive myself. He's like, no, I will take you. He will always take me.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, you know, I'm very, very lucky. And, you know, I feel sad when I see kids for our generation, like, oh, we really tried. But really trying is like, oh, it's a fight and then I'm out of here.
Well, they want this generation wasn't trained to try. They were trained to let the functioning of systems and this information age do the thinking and do the work for them.
Right.
So they don't feel like what you're talking about 30 years, they don't feel like they have to do that. But this video is going to be a blessing.
I hope so.
This is the best interview I've ever done.
Very sweet.
I've done a lot of interviews.
Sorry for this.
For what? What are you sorry for?
But, you know, I really appreciate you.
You're gonna be just fine.
You're very sweet.
You're already
very
fine.
sweet.
You're gonna be
Thank you so
just
much.
fine. Come on, pretty girl. I want you to talk to the younger generation, and on behalf of your parents and the love that this family brings in uniting one another together. How does that speak to you? What does that mean to you?
30 years of marriage to me means love and commitment. My mom has never given up on my dad. And commitment and love looks like when your teeth are messed up, but you still smile anyways because you know that your friends won't make fun of you. That's love. That's commitment.
That's beautiful. I didn't see that coming. Keep talking. How has being born into that 30 years and knowing what you may or may not have known as a result of what you heard your beautiful mother elaborate on? How has that made you either a good person, a bad person, or a better person?
I'm definitely a better person because their marriage has set a very high bar for me.
Beautiful.
It's giving me the motivation to not give up on anyone, or especially just myself, because I know if someone just as strong as my mom could do it and my dad, I could do it too, because I'm the best of both of them.
Aww.
She's your prototype. I love it. How you doing? This is the prototype right here. I love it. And to listen to her, the next generation talk like this.
You know, I always tell her, like, especially with her, you know, her significant other. You know, when it, you know, you saw how me and your dad had our struggles. But you got to have your struggles too. And she's, you know, she's young. They have a long way to go. But she's been with her boyfriend for 5 years. So
she's got that longevity in her. You see?
I think they're gonna go the distance. But you know, and
5 years.
Yeah.
The distance is going.
Yeah. So you know, and I tell her, like, you have to make each other better.
That's the context.
Yeah.
Right there.
And
Better.
so, and she, you know, she does. She she has a standard for her boyfriend. Like, my parents are like this. I don't need to be like them, but the values that
Yes.
they've installed in me,
Yes.
that's what I need to follow
Yes.
through on. And she does. She follows through on the values that she.
Well, her first relationship is a father.
Yeah.
With any
I
man,
mean-
with any man, a daughter's first relationship is father, is daddy.
Yeah.
That's the first relationship. You see, and all others, and she'll tell you, watch your head, following suit, don't they? See, I told you.
My dad buys me everything.
You see,
That doesn't mean I'm spoiled. That just means that he loves me very much. He sees something I like and he'll be like, oh, let's get this for her because she loves these.
she addressed it.
Yeah.
She said that doesn't mean that she's spoiled. That's
Yeah.
just her father's way of expressing his love to her. She clarified that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't clarify that. See, I told you, Gene's working.
Yeah, and we try to, we tell them, just because even if you get expenses, I don't ever want you to expect someone to buy you something when you could do it yourself. I don't want you to feel entitled. We've never raised our kids to feel entitled. And, I've always told her, if you do something for something, or do something for someone, don't expect anything back. It's just out of kindness. Don't ever look back and be like, well, I did this for that person and I did it. Don't do that. That means whatever gesture you did for them didn't count. It doesn't count. It doesn't mean it's out of love. It's just because you're looking for recognition. If you want recognition, find it within yourself. Do something great for yourself. Go jog and be like, oh, I did it. But don't ever do something kind for someone and feel like you need to get acknowledged in a way like, oh my God, thank you so much. And like, and don't ever use that against them. I cannot stand that.
Yeah, that's today's society.
I cannot.
Yeah.
There's no point in that.
Yeah.
So she's learned, like, if I do something for you, I do it out of love.
Right.
And she's learned that from her dad and
Yes.
myself. Like she is spoiled in a way where her dad will, if she says, Dad, I want this, and he goes out and buy it, she's still humble.
Yes.
She doesn't flaunt it.
Yes.
She doesn't say, oh, I got new Uggs. Like, yes, she's not that person. And she
Stays human.
Yeah, she
Stays humble and human.
I don't think she, it's not like she puts it on social media, like.
I don't really use it.
Yeah, so
Well, that's good.
but so,
I feel privileged, you see?
yeah, she's very more good content because I see what either funny dogs or
Well, I mean, you all have made such a wonderful impression.
Thank you, but yeah, she's
When you can make an impression on the soul, that's for life. That's forever. The soul is forever. The outer shell, that outer appearance, is not forever. Now, speaking to the younger generation regarding what you have experienced, what would you say to motivate them, to inspire them, and to encourage them? That are not or have not experienced this beauty that you have embarked upon. What would you say to encourage them, to give them some hope so that they can cope?
Well, being young, it has its issues. Definitely, it's like it's very hard being like the age that I am and I was, and I guess it's just really like, don't give up. Don't feel like you're weak because you're not. You're stronger than you really are.
She's a leader.
Yeah, like the not giving up part sounds really corny, and I know it's easier said than done, but it's not like you don't have time. You have all the time in the world to get up and change your life for the better if that's what you want to do,
Now, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, if the younger, generation who's on the outside looking in to your view, and as a result of the fact that they've never experienced it, they can't relate to it, and they can't comprehend it. They hear what you're saying, but they never experience what you're saying. Which direction would you point them in so that they can have some level of hyphenation of that?
It's really like whatever works for you. Like you you know yourself better than anyone else. And if you can't relate to what I'm saying, then maybe there's friends or families that could relate to me, and you could ask them, like, how can you relate to this person? I can't. And maybe they can give you a different perspective, because it's all just about perspectives and like looking at it in a different way. So it's everything that works for you just works for you. It's, don't take like my words like I have to not give up because this girl's saying this. If you feel like right now you have to give up, but then later on you can keep going, then that's what works for you.
No, your words and what you're saying is great. You see, and they would take your word for it because you're in the now of that experience. But encourage them to get a male mentor, a mother mentor, someone who's speaking like your mother and father who's been through something.
There's always someone out there that will be that mentor. Like, if you don't have like a mother or a father you could turn to or look at, there's always someone there. There's always a teacher, or there's always a Frank.
Oh, I love you. Thank you. That was so sweet.
There's always a friend. There's always a cousin. There's always an auntie. There's always someone there. You're never just really alone. You feel like you're really alone, but you're never just really alone. You just have to learn how to reach out for yourself.
That's the key word, the context. Learn.
Right.
You doing see what you and your husband has done right here. This is today, and this is our tomorrow, and this is the future right here. This is what I work hard for right here and right here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
To all you come over here, pretty girl. To all you beautiful people out there in the world, this is what I get to experience every day. She told me she's an avid watcher. She watched Frank Anderson videos every day, and they are the reason why I do what it is that I do. They are the reason. You are the reason. All of you all are the reason why I go home and I sleep good at night. Looking forward to another day that I can do this all over again. Nobody told you they love you today. I love all of you all. I love them. Have a good evening and have a smiling night. May your smile shine bright. To all you beautiful people out there in the world, good night.
Good night.
Beautiful.